Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a very specific but fascinating niche of Korean cinema. Films that are made exclusively for mature audiences. And no, I'm not just talking about nudity or explicit scenes for the sake of it. These are films that explore adult themes, complicated relationships, forbidden love, betrayal, lust, emotional vulnerability, and the many ways desire can twist people. If you've seen titles like Untold Scandal or Green Chair, you already know these movies are far more than what they appear to be on the surface. So, let's break down 10 notable Korean movies that were made for mature audiences and why they've stuck around in discussions about bold Korean cinema. Let's start with Untold Scandal from 2003. If that title sounds vaguely familiar, it's because the film is actually a Korean adaptation of the French novel Les Liaisons Dangereuses. But what makes this version so captivating is how it blends that classic story of manipulation and seduction with the conservative, rule-bound world of the Joseon dynasty. This contrast between rigid tradition and reckless desire is what gives the movie its bite. Bae Young-joon plays a playboy nobleman who makes a bet to seduce a virtuous woman, and as you'd expect, things don't go as planned. It's a beautifully shot film with lavish costumes and sets, but beneath the elegance is a story of human weakness, lust, and emotional warfare. Definitely not your typical period drama. Next up is Marriage is a Crazy Thing, released in 2002. This one's a personal favorite for how grounded it feels. It tells the story of a university lecturer who meets a woman who doesn't want to get married, but she also doesn't want to give up on love or intimacy. So they settle into a relationship that doesn't fit any traditional mold. Basically an open, secret arrangement, while she marries someone else for stability. Sounds messy, right? That's because it is. But that's what makes the film so relatable for some and uncomfortable for others. It doesn't glamorize cheating or alternative lifestyles. It just lays them bare, flaws and all. Kam Woo-sung and Jung-hwa give raw performances, and the film feels like a long, brutally honest conversation about what it means to love someone without owning them. Another period film that turned heads is The Servant from 2010. Now, this is a retelling of the legendary Korean folktale Chun Hyung-jeon, but with a twist. Instead of focusing on the nobleman, this version shifts perspective to the servant, hence the title, and we get a whole new layer of class struggle, lust, and betrayal. It's a sexy, stylish movie, no doubt. The erotic scenes are intense and frequent, but they're not just there to titillate. They're used to explore power, vulnerability, and the politics of desire. There's an undercurrent of tragedy too, because in stories like these, love isn't always enough to overcome societal boundaries. Jumping to 2010 again, we have Secret Love. This one is part romance, part thriller, and part psychological drama. It's about a woman whose husband falls into a coma, only for his twin brother to show up. And surprise, they fall into a dangerous affair. It's the kind of plot that sounds like a soap opera, but the execution is tight, sensual, and suspenseful. Yeonjin Seo plays the lead, and she does a fantastic job balancing vulnerability and recklessness. As the story unfolds, you're never quite sure who's manipulating whom, and that tension is what makes the film work so well. Then we have Green Chair from 2005. Now, this movie caused a stir when it was released, and it's easy to see why. It's about a 32-year-old woman who has a passionate affair with a 19-year-old boy. That dynamic alone raises eyebrows, and the film doesn't shy away from showing the physical and emotional intensity between them. But here's the thing. It's not just a film about sex. It's about loneliness, guilt, societal expectations, and the search for connection. Yes, the scenes are explicit, but they feel emotionally charged rather than exploitative. It's one of those films that's hard to watch and even harder to forget. Let's not forget Lover, also from 2005. This one is quieter, more introspective. It tells the story of a woman who begins a purely physical relationship with a married man, and through that relationship, she begins to understand more about herself and her emotional needs. It's a slow burn with minimal dialogue and a lot of silent tension. The beauty of Lover lies in its subtlety, how it shows the emotional shifts in the characters through simple gestures and lingering shots. It's less about plot and more about mood. And if you're into contemplative cinema, this one might be for you. Moving on to The Scarlet Letter from 2004, not to be confused with the American novel. This Korean film is a crime thriller wrapped in a psychological drama. Han Soo-kyu plays a cop who's cheating on his wife with a jazz singer, But things spiral out of control when a murder investigation dredges up old guilt and obsession. The film is moody, violent, and uncomfortably erotic. It blurs the line between love and possession, between justice and revenge. It's not an easy watch, but it's undeniably compelling if you're into dark adult storytelling. Portrait of a Beauty, 2008, takes us back to the Joseon era again. This time, the focus is on a female painter who disguises herself as a man to work in the royal court. What follows is a tangled web of love, jealousy, and sexual exploration. The movie explores the limitations placed on women in a male-dominated society, and how art becomes both an escape and a prison for the protagonist. The erotic elements are there, but they serve a deeper purpose, showing how constrained and complicated human desire can be when it's forced to hide in the shadows. Now let's talk about The Treacherous from 2015. This one is full-on decadent, chaotic, and brutal. It's based on the reign of the tyrant king Yeonsan, who's infamous for indulging in extreme pleasures and abusing his power. The movie portrays this in a very graphic and stylized way. There are scenes of orgies, torture, betrayal, and everything in between. It's not for the faint of heart. But beneath the surface, the film is an indictment of how unchecked power and desire can lead to utter corruption. It's excessive, yes, but intentionally so. Finally, we've got Plum Blossom from 2000. This is more of a coming-of-age story, but it's deeply adult in its themes. It follows a group of high school students as they experience their first love, heartbreak, and sexual awakenings. It's honest, raw, and a little melancholic. The film doesn't judge its characters. It just observes them as they stumble through the emotional confusion of youth. It's a film that understands how formative those first experiences can be, and how they linger in our memories. So there you have it. 10 Korean films that explore adult themes with boldness, emotional depth, and sometimes controversial storytelling. These aren't just erotic films, they're layered, complex stories that use intimacy and desire as a lens to explore bigger truths about society, identity, and the human heart. If you're looking to dive deeper into Korean cinema beyond the mainstream, these films are definitely worth a watch. Just remember, they're for mature audiences for a reason. Viewer discretion is highly advised. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more content like this, whether it's underrated films, genre deep dives, or foreign cinema spotlights, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next in the comments. Until next time, happy watching!